When a principal opens up the email with your resume inside, you have between 10 to maybe 15 seconds to make that first impression, and you want to make sure that you are being remembered for the right reasons. Hey there, if we haven't met before, my name is Katie Jarvis. I'm a K-6 elementary art teacher, and I teach at a Title I school just outside of Washington, D.C. In this video, we're going to be talking all about art teacher resumes, cover letters, and references. Interviewing and looking for a job can be a really exciting time, but I also know that it can be extremely stressful. So we're going to give you some tips to help guide you along the way. The first thing you'll want to do, if you've already applied for a job before, is pull up any old resumes you might have as a starting point. If you've never created a resume before, the first thing you'll want to do to organize yourself is make a list of all the jobs that you've had and all of your educational experience. So that could be trainings, that could be classes, that could be degrees that you hold, and making sure that you have all that information, that you're confirming the dates for that, and also coming up with a contact. So your direct supervisor in any of those jobs that you could list as a reference. And you're going to want to find an email address and a phone number for each of those people. So getting all that information is a great starting point. Once you have your information gathered, you'll want to reach out and contact your references. If you have worked at a position before, it's highly likely that if you are offered a teaching position, they're going to contact those people. So contact them, give them a quick email or a call, and let them know that you are interested and looking for an art teacher position. If you are currently a teacher, be sure that you inform your principal that you are looking, because this process can sometimes move very fast. You might place your resume in a principal's hand one day, and they could be on the phone with your principal the very next day. So make sure that you're being open and honest about your employment status and that you are looking. Now I would go on to Etsy or Teachers Pay Teachers to just save yourself some time and buy a really crisp, classy looking template. So all you need to do is just plug that information in, and the formatting will be taken care of for you. Once I plug things into that template, I do save it as a PDF so that things won't move around, fonts won't change when principals open it up on different computers or on phones or iPads. I would also, at this time when you're organizing your resume, I would Google resume examples for teachers so you have a basis of something to look at. I would also Google list of words that come up frequently, those keywords for teacher resumes. You can kind of see some of the language that would typically be on a teacher resume, and look up action words. So that you're not using the same thing over and over. You're not saying, I developed lessons, I developed a curriculum, you want to use a little bit of variety in your words, and you want to come across as someone that's powerful and knowledgeable. So you want to choose those words to best showcase you and your talents. Okay, so let's get you the job. What do you need to put on that resume? Well, the most important thing would be your name, and be sure to include how you want to be addressed. So if you have a formal full name and you go by your middle name or something other than that, you'll want to indicate that somewhere on your resume. You may want to also indicate what pronouns you use. One thing that you can do to indicate what you'd like to be called is by saving the file of your resume by the name you want to be called. So let's say you have Catherine listed on your resume, but you want to be called Katie. You could name that file for your resume Katie Jarvis's resume to give an indication to the people interviewing you that you would want to be called Katie. When you're coming up with this resume, think one page. This is super short, super sweet, only relevant information. This is not paragraphs and paragraphs about you. This is a quick first impression. If you had to, you could do the back of the page, but I would not go to 3-4 pages or separate sheets. One thing you need to make sure you include is your contact information. You're not going to get an interview if they can't get a hold of you. So make sure that you have your phone number, a current working phone number of a phone that you answer, and you're going to want to make sure that you have a professional looking email. So if the name of your email address is, sexyartist69, that might not be the best look for job interviewing. So you may want to get a new one, set it up just with your name, something very simple that looks professional, and use that on your resume. Great, so you've got your email on there. You've got to check your email. Many interviews for teaching are still set up over email. So this is likely to be how the districts are going to be contacting you. So put it on your calendar, set alerts every single day. You need to be checking that email to see if you're being offered positions, if you're being offered interviews, so that you can respond in a timely manner to show that you are interested. Very clearly on your resume, you need to show your licensure status. So if you are currently still in school, that needs to be very clearly indicated. If you do have a teaching license, let's say in another state, or a teaching license that is expired, you want to make sure that you're putting dates and making things really clear, because that's something that when they're starting to sort things out, who makes the cut, that's going to get an interview, who doesn't, that's something they're looking at to be like, okay, where is this person in the process? Are they in a provisional license? Are they a teacher that's able to walk right in the door and start teaching? What's going on with that? Make sure that you are not going too back far in your history. So if you've been teaching a while, or you're a more mature person like myself, you don't want to go back 10, 15 years with a lot of experience about something that happened a long time ago. The details are going to be in the things you've done most recently and things that are extremely relevant. You can list things from long ago, but just, simply the name and the dates. You're not giving a lot of extra details and information. Now, if you haven't taught before, you're going to want to include things like trainings, classes, technology skills that you have, volunteer things that you've done with helping people, with working with kids. All of that is relevant to your resume when you don't have a lot of teaching experience. One of the greatest things that you can put on your resume if you're a brand new teacher, let's say you graduate in June, sign up to sub. So even if you only can sub for like 3-4 weeks, it will be an invaluable opportunity to yourself to really see what it's like to be a teacher, but also it's going to be incredibly impressive to schools that are looking at hiring you. So if you're someone that has had a gap in your employment, you haven't been a teacher, for 10 years, let's say, you stayed home with your children, you might want to come back in by subbing as you're doing the interview process. You're showing that district that you're very invested in becoming a teacher and you're supporting the teaching mission. And let's be honest, we need some subs, so we appreciate your help. Now, one thing you might want to include on the top of your resume, I saw this very recently from some pre-service teachers, is a QR code with your, wait for it, with your art portfolio. So digital art portfolios, that's where it's at now. You could create a Google site. You could create a simple Shutterfly site with your artwork. You could link them to your Instagram if you had a very professional looking Instagram with your artwork or your student work previously. You're going to want to label very clearly whether things are student work or your own personal work. But having a QR code right at the top of that resume that they can just look right up and see that information very quickly is going to be something that makes you stand out. So that's something I really suggest. I would include your references with your resume. You've probably seen that line before, references available upon request. That's creating another step, okay? It's creating a little more resistance. You're getting this job, they're gonna want you, they're gonna wanna know who do they contact to get those references. So just go ahead and give that information right away when you send that resume and cut out that middle step. Okay, you've got that resume done. The next step is a cover letter. Now, this is a word from the past. This used to be a second document that you would have a letter introducing yourself. That's kind of been replaced by this cover letter is now an email, and you're going to want to have this email ready ahead of time. So the moment that you see a job opening come up, you can send this off to a principal. This is going to be an introduction email introducing yourself, stating what your experience is and why you're a good fit for this school. So when you find that school that has that opening, you're going to want to put the name of the school within in your email and stating connections you have to that school and why you would be an amazing fit. You are selling yourself in this email. You'll want to have your contact information very clearly on this, and you're going to want to attach your resume, your references, and your digital portfolio. That can all be in just one PDF. If you've got like a QR code for that portfolio, you could link a separate website to go to for that portfolio. A lot of different ways that you can do that, but you want to have everything that they need for them to decide if you're going to get that call for the interview. Be sure again that you're sending this from a professional email and that you are checking this email so that you can see if you get an interview and you get a response. Next, you want to watch Managing the Art Teacher Interviews.